let me talk about the sketchbook. I want to tell you about what we're going to be putting into the sketchbook. All right, so you will be taking notes in this class. This class is lecture heavy, and that picture right there are my notebooks from my art history classes that I was just taking up until recently. And I'm a slow reader, and I don't always remember what I read, so I take a lot of notes. So on the right side, each one of these columns is a different class. I took 6 different art history classes. So in this one, I used 2, this one, I used 3, 3, 3. And then this class right here, I used, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then even a 6th one over here. I just, a couple pages in the 6th one. I finally learned just how to organize my notes a little bit better. So I split it into different notebooks. I'm just saying I like to take notes when I read. All right, and these are what my art history notes look like. Okay, so I'm going to be asking you to take notes, and a typical student's sketchbook or notebook will look like this. All right, you can see the writing up there, and they fill their page up about this. This is very typical of my students. The overachievers do stuff like this. This was from my first year teaching, and these are printed. I'm going to insist that you are writing your notes in the sketchbook. But this is what an overachiever's sketchbook looks like. Here's another overachiever. Her notes were just wonderful, and they're highlighted and organized. And here's student 4. All right, and some students like to glue in artworks, print them out at home, and glue them in. Some students sketch in their books. I insist that you sketch. And here is student 5. All right, and you can see the quality of the notes here. All right, look how much is written on these others, and then look how much is written on student 5. Listen carefully. I'm not going to tell you how to take notes. This is your sketchbook, your notes. You use them for studying for your tests. You take notes as you see fit. All right. This student did well in class. This student did well in class. So, however you like to take notes, you be you. If you really love having these pictures in there, absolutely print out pictures and photos and glue them in. I highly recommend that. All right. I don't recommend not having many notes, but this worked for this student. He did well in class. All right. So you take the notes that you need to take. Now you can see the difference between student 3 and student 5. Student 3 takes a lot more notes than student 5. And that's perfectly okay. Both these kids got the exact same grade on their notes, which was 100. If you take notes, you get 100. All right. If you do what I ask, you get 100. However, why? What would benefit? Like, so what's the point of taking a lot of notes? And the benefit is that when you are taking your test, I will allow you to use your sketchbook for short periods of time. So the better notes you have in your sketchbook, the better they can help you on tests. So that's why you should take good notes. With each chapter that we do, I am going to ask you to draw 5 pictures from the artworks that we look at. So, some students draw those artworks embedded in with the notes. And then some students, you see on the right, they do all their sketches at the end of the chapter. So they might do their sketches at home or in another class. And whereas the student on the left is doing his sketches while we're looking at the notes. And again, you be you. Whatever works for you, you do that. All right. I'm not going to tell you how to do the sketches. And by the way, these sketches should take about a minute each. All right. I'm not expecting great works of art on these little chapter sketches. All right. Now, another part of your sketchbook is your detailed drawing. So I'm going to ask you guys once per unit to do a detailed drawing. I want you to spend 2 hours on drawing one work of art. And the reason why is that I think you can see more by drawing a work of art with all its details than just looking at it and moving on or writing about it. One of the articles that I had to read while I was in grad school was this art historian, and she was studying the figures of the Cycladic Islands. And she drew in high detail the figures that she was studying because the photographs just were not showing the details that she was seeing with her eyes. So she enhanced the research that she was doing by doing the drawings. So the picture on the right is her drawing of the sculpture on the left. All right. Now, these are, again, this is on the right. That's her drawing of the figure that is on the left. So she learned a lot by drawing the figures, and I want you to learn by drawing the figures. Now, these are very high quality and take a lot of time that I'm asking of you guys. So here is a typical student, their sketchbook. So on the left is the notes. You can see the little 5 little sketches for the chapter, and on the right is the detailed drawing that they spent 2 hours on. All right, so here's the artwork that they are drawing from. And you can use colored pencil, you can use pencil, you can use pen. Some students like to use paint. And here are just some other examples of detailed drawings that I've had in my class. Now, this student, I wanted to show you this student. These 2 detailed drawings are unfinished, and that's okay because they hit their 2-hour mark. So to finish this drawing, they would go well over 2 hours of drawing, and I'm not asking that of you. I'm asking for 2 hours every time. So I think he got what he needed from the 2 hours. All right. Does that make sense? So once you hit your 2 hours, you can stop working on the drawing. And then here is an example of what not to do. All right. On your detailed drawing, you should not turn in stuff like this. Now, I don't expect all of you to be accomplished artists. In fact, I think most of you are not. You are allowed to trace, all right, to draw your picture. So you can, have it up on your computer screen, put your piece of paper up and trace it and then color it in and, spend your 2 hours, of all the details. But this is not acceptable. Okay? All right. All right, that's it for now.